It is July 22nd, 2025, and generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. This is Inverted World Live. What's up, everybody? I hope you can hear me. We are having some crazy issues, so if you can't hear me, let Brandon know. We were hustling right before going live, but maybe you guys can hear us, and if you can, that's great. I can't hear anything, but we're figuring it out. We're making it happen. We're here. It's July 22nd. It's a crazy day. For those who don't know, before we get into all the stories, this is a call-in show. Our link, our phone lines are open, and the link to call in is pinned in the chat on both Rumble and YouTube. And you can give us a call if you have anything strange that you've encountered in your life. It could have happened in your childhood. It could have happened yesterday. Or it could have happened in another dimension. We've had all sorts of calls, and we want to hear them. We will try to get to every caller. But as you know, if you were tuned in last night, we missed out on a lot because there's a lot of you. And we are very, very grateful for you guys calling in. So for those who we don't get to, Brandon's been really good at taking down names and getting to you the next day. Which we will try to do. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time. But yeah, there's a lot going on. I had this UFO article. I had this other stuff I want to talk about with organ procurement. But I can't not talk about Ozzy. He seems to be a very controversial figure on Twitter today for many reasons, good and bad. But his music meant a lot to me. And I was actually about to go live on Jack Posovic's show earlier to talk about the stuff we talked about on Inverted World Live last night in terms of Area 51, these guys with this invisible enemy, disease, the burn pits, the Gothic fire, and right as we were about to go live, as I was in this room, we both saw Ozzy Osbourne passed away and spent 30 minutes talking about our connection to Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne solo music and what all that meant, and how could we not talk about it today as I'm sitting across from a great drummer who also appreciated Ozzy's music. And for those who don't know, I'm talking about Brandon. What's up?
What is up, Shane? What's up, everybody?
How you doing over there?
It's been a really, really screwed up day.
Can
I'm
they
trying
hear
to
us?
refrain from dropping F-bombs this early in the show, but it's been an extremely screwed up day.
Can they hear us at least?
Yeah.
Okay, so hey.
Everybody can hear you,
Hey,
so
that's
it's fine.
fine.
We're
That's
going to have
fine.
to wing this for callers, which I'm on the case. We're going to figure this shit out.
Yeah, we got this. We got this.
But just weird issues. It's a really horrible day with Ozzy passing, and on top, it's also the death day of one of my best friends. So it's just horrible, horrible day.
That's weird that it lined up like that.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
But we are here, and the show must go on nonetheless. So let's get weird.
That's right. Well, you know, one of the things I learned from a lot of the punk rock and metal I learned is to turn the bad stuff and the tragedy into something hopeful, something you can learn from, especially something I learned from Black Sabbath early on. I grew up, like I talked about Brian Wilson. This is the third time this year some sort of artist that I looked up to has passed away right before going live. In January, it was David Lynch. A few weeks ago, a month ago, it was Brian Wilson. Today's Ozzy. And I don't like worship celebrities. I don't really care about celebrities, but I do care about art that has impacted me in a lot of ways. Black Sabbath is a really early example of that. My dad put me on to Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys early on. At that same time frame, my mom put me on to Black Sabbath. And I would grow up to love Beach Boys in a very profound way, but didn't love them as early as I did Sabbath. And I wanted to emulate Black Sabbath early on in terms of getting my first guitar, an Epiphone SG. It was Candy Apple Red. My first riff I ever learned was from Iron Man. And that music just meant a whole bunch to me. And, like I was talking today with Jack on his show, we were talking about what environment does it take to create someone like an Ozzy or Black Sabbath, because they basically started metal. We could fight about who really started metal. There's a lot of ways you can look at it. You could even say the Beatles started metal with She's So Heavy, with that last riff in that song. So that's contentious, but you know what I mean. And it was interesting thinking about that question, what environment does it take? And these guys were born after World War II, in in the UK and experience a war-torn landscape. So it's not so hard to imagine then why these guys were obsessed with the darkness, with death. And we'll get into. I do want to spend a little bit of time on this because I think it's interesting, and it's inverted world adjacent, clearly, with the things they were singing about. But I just want to read just that opening line again. For those who don't know, the thing I started with was from War Pigs, one of my favorite songs of all time. The lyrics were written by Geezer, the bass player of Sabbath. And this line, this paragraph, is as relevant today as it was when they put it out in the 60s. I think that was the 60s. Maybe it was the 70s. Sorry, it was the 70s. Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields, the bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning. Death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. That is today. That is an immortal lyric that is about human nature and the people running everything, and what we talk about a lot on this show. So it's just wild to think about how, some people will say it's easy to say these guys were evil, and they weren't. I would say they definitely went through some dark times and wouldn't have been the best role models in terms of the lives that they led, especially Ozzy with the drugs and all that. But the art made a difference to me, and it helped. It became a lineage of music that would impact a lot of bands that would also inspire me. But then thinking about this area they grew up in, and I knew people who grew up in the same sort of areas over there, and they were a little younger, but had similar stories of, oh yeah, there's just a bomb that hasn't exploded in this person's basement. It fell out of the sky. No one's touched it. They just left it there. So that becomes your norm. And obviously it affected those types of lyrics. It's not all they sang about, but it's just wild stuff. What is your takeaway, Brandon? I know he's over here grinding, guys.
It's because I fucked up the Rumble stream. Thank you guys for pointing me to that. Obviously I'm not all there today, but I totally put our Rumble stream under the PCC channel. So Mary's gonna fucking love that. We'll deal with that tomorrow.
Sorry, guys.
Apologies. Thank you guys for rejoining.
Everything was so fine. Everything's great. We haven't had issues in this room for so long, and then we were rocking out.
What is it you say? The gremlins?
The gremlins.
The goddamn gremlins. Yeah, apparently that's a thing today. So
while I'm over here talking about Sabbath, if you can't hear it, Brandon's over there furiously typing. I
just put the stream back together in about 25 seconds and got it back live.
Dude, thank you. This is the second time you've had to troubleshoot on the fly.
This time was my fault, though. I'm taking full responsibility for this dick up. This was totally mine. Last time it was Serge, so I'm not taking the fall for your shit,
I'm going to blame Serge for this one, too. Is that okay? I don't know. Can I do that? He might
Go ahead.
Remotely.
Yeah.
He did it remotely, right?
He's also probably the reason why we're having audio problems, but I'm not going to throw him under the bus either,
But if you could take a second, as a musician, another musician in this room, what does Sabbath mean to you? What about Ozzy? This is a dark, sad day.
Ozzy was actually one of the first major musical influences in my life. Before I had even considered playing drums or anything like that, I was maybe like 8, 9 years old when I got my first Ozzy album, and I listened to it on repeat, and then just demanded my parents buy me like every other album. Yeah. So I had the whole damn collection. I used to sit there and listen to it, and I only got to see him one time live, and I was telling Shane about this. I got to go to an Ozfest sometime in my late teens, early 20s, and I remember Ozzy was still up doing it. He was still running around. It was a super, super hot day in Chicago, and they came on at like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. The sun was just blaring, and Ozzy was running around with a garden hose on stage, spraying people down in the crowd, and he had these like buckets of ice water off to the side. And at one point, he went and grabbed one of these buckets and just kind of frantically ran around until he seen me, and then he just hit me right in the face with a whole bucket of ice water. And it was one of the greatest things that's ever happened to me.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it sucked because, my parents listened to him, a lot when I was a kid. They got me into him, and then I listened to him a lot. And then obviously when I got into rock music, some of my favorite songs like You're Shot in the Dark and, War Pigs, just very influential. And it's a sad fucking day. Really sad day for music. I saw somebody earlier that was like, let's get right down to it. His music wasn't that good, and I was like, fuck you, do better. You know, like do better. I'd like to see you try.
I think he had great music. I mean, not every song was amazing, but
Well, you
the
know,
songs that great were
comes
really
from a
great.
normal time of music, like early days of rock. You know, get right down to it. He was one of the godfathers of rock, and you know, he deserves that hat nod. So thank you, Ozzy, for everything.
Want to play that clip? Do we have that?
Yeah, actually, Shane actually posted this earlier.
Are we still on Pop Culture Crisis? Because we can kind of
no. I killed it. I killed it and got the hell out of there.
I'm Brett Dasovic, everybody, and this is Mary Morgan.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I can't hold a candle to Mary. She's way better than me at this. So this is just, it's super, super short, but it's a clip of Ozzy when he was on Letterman way, way back after the death of Randy Rhoads and him speaking about that. Let me make sure I got volume on this before I pull another flub. Yeah, I think I do. Let's go.
A personal tragedy in your life.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, I'm surprised that you went ahead with your commitment to be here, and I appreciate that. And I know you wanted to take a minute here to explain.
All I can say is, in the last week, guys, people out there, I've lost two of the greatest people in my life. But it ain't going to stop me because I'm for rock and roll is for the people. And I love people, and that's what I'm about.
I respect that spirit.
It's one of the best quotes I think ever by him, because so that is, for a lot of musicians, that is the mentality. You know, the show must go on. So, and we're talking about a guy that knew he was on his way out, and he put together this unbelievable show in Birmingham a few weeks ago, which some of you saw, and he gave the performance of a lifetime, in my opinion, and absolutely crushed it. You know, but it also was sad to see that, you know, he couldn't get out of his throne. He was in this chair, and someone had said afterwards on social media that Ozzy had graduated from the Prince of Darkness to the King of Darkness, and I completely agree. Ooh. And in Egypt, when kings die, they become gods. So I believe, you know, if there wasn't a god before, there is now, and his name is Ozzy Osbourne.
And you last night mentioned that very show.
Yeah, and Shane brought this up to me and blew my mind earlier because he was like, you know, we were just talking about that show last night, and I stopped in my tracks for a second. I looked at Shane. I'm like, did I kill Ozzy Osbourne?
No.
Shane's like, no, you didn't. And I'm like,
no.
You know, so
all the drugs he did for 50 years killed Ozzy. But I mean, he was on, like I said to you, he was on bonus time for 30 years. It was amazing he made it this far. It was just, we were talking about the drummers, right, last night?
Yeah, Travis it was. We got into talking about Danny Carey and
it's amazing.
Him and Travis, and Chad Smith did that solo kind of thing, and I've been seeing videos for it for weeks, and it's just so awesome. That whole show was just crazy. Like, I'm so happy. I wish I could have actually gone to see it. That would have been amazing.
I know.
But I'm glad he got to do his final show like that. And
I agree.
It's just crazy that it's just a couple of weeks before, you know, his death.
It was nice that he had that final goodbye. And, you know, a lot of people on Twitter were, like, really upset about any promotion of Ozzy because they see him as satanic. And he certainly did use satanic imagery throughout his career every now and then. But I think Ozzy also considered himself to be a Christian. And who knows what his heart was like. But it's just interesting, you know, the people who recoil from what he did, whereas I see him as someone who was, like, in Sabbath. They were holding up to society like, this is the true darkness of the world, you know, the war machine, the military-industrial complex, these dark witches. That's something that's embedded in society. It's in society's DNA. I never really thought of them as promoting it. I always thought of it, even before I was religious, I always thought of them as someone who was trying to expose it. Like someone how, like, you know, and this is another controversial figure, but someone I like a lot, Marilyn Manson, putting in a mirror on society, being like, this is like the hypocrisy of the world, you know. It's clearly, you know, there's some things that might throw some people off and you might recoil from. But a lot of it is like, you know, in the 90s when it comes to someone like Manson, you know, Bill Clinton starts speaking out about how an artist like Manson is reprehensible. And then he's like, well, I'm just making music and art. You know, you might not like it. It might be controversial, but you're the one who's bombing Kosovo. You're literally killing people. And that's, you know, Manson's from the lineage of Sabbath, and, you know, I like that kind of music and that kind of art that, you know, it might appear dark on the surface, but I think when you look at it, it's actually showing you that these people have hope, and a lot of that hope comes from exposing just how dark reality is. We talk a lot on the show. I think it was the other day with 6'7" Kevin when I was talking about how a lot of people refuse to give up the luxury of the illusion that we are not living in a dystopia, but we are living in a dystopia. And art like this stuff is some of those things that shatters that illusion, which I think is a good thing. I don't think that's a black pill. I don't think that's a bad outlook. I think not being ignorant of how dark everything is around you makes you a better person and helps you raise better kids and put a better foundation within your family and yourself as you navigate this crazy world, which is clearly crazy. Like I've been saying, the status quo of the world is unfortunately darkness, and you're being attacked at every possible level. So, I love music, and I love music that can help shine a light on that darkness, even though sometimes it might appear to be dark. So, yeah, rock stars are dying off, and we don't have many left. It's crazy because we have Liam Gallagher. I love I love Oasis. Very different type of music than Sabbath, but I would say Liam's a rock star who's still alive. I still like people like Manson and Trent Reznor. But
are you really going to leave out the anomaly that is Keith Richards, or like?
Well, he's transcended. He's beyond like rock and roll, right?
At this point, I'm like,
what is that?
Is Keith Richards the ultimate skin job now? Like, have we gotten to the point to where now we have to look away from Biden and start looking at Keith Richards? And how the hell are you still alive?
That, and you see Iggy Pop on stage still, like he's looking like E.T. But he's still killing it.
Even Betty White had to go at some point.
She did,
and she kicked it for a long ass time.
She got harder and harder. She was a gangster by the end.
Yep, but she was also still number one on everybody's death card. Because that was the big winner. But man, I can't believe how long she evaded the Reaper for.
It's unbelievable.
Super impressive.
Unbelievable. Well, shout out to Sabbath and to Ozzy for all the music. We are very grateful for it. Grateful for things like Ozfest.
Yeah.
You and I both appreciate. I'm sure a lot of you guys out there as well. Giving like stages to a lot of bands that were very important to me that wouldn't have existed without Sabbath, without Ozzy. So it's amazing to see. He was very supportive of new music. Not everyone's like that. There's not a lot of people in all these industries that want to support people and make them, successful. And they were doing a great job at that. I loved Ozfest. I listened to those live albums all the time. So yeah, thank you guys for the music, and let's get into some UFO talk, shall we?
Let's do it.
And I guess we can still hear me. That's good. Thank you guys for listening. It's weird doing the show without headphones, but it's crazy. Where are we? We have this is how it was like. Okay, it's gonna be an easy day. UFO footage. Ozzy dies.
Yeah.
But let's get into it. Pilot's video of best ever UFO footage had its authenticity confirmed by Ufologist. Let's play them that video. I don't know. Let's play it. Yeah, I just can't hear it.
You're going to want to keep your eyes up towards the top of the screen, I believe, for this one.
It's definitely something. Or it's AI. What do you think?
So, how...
Or it's one of our jets.
We're talking about... We have the word authenticated here in parentheses for a reason. We might as well have a standing asterisk by that now, because how the hell do you properly authenticate a video like this?
You see, if you're an expert, all you have to do is look at it and then say, I have authenticated this.
Yes.
I agree with this video.
Stamp it.
Which we will get into. I love that's also in quotes, the best ever UFO footage has just had its authenticity verified by a ufologist. Ufologist? That's such a weird word. The footage was captured by pilot Jorge Arteaga as he was flying over Colombia, where you guys know is the home of the bogosphere, or the belugosphere. In it, a dark object can be seen emerging from the clouds and flying past the cockpit of Arteaga's plane. A UFO expert has since come out to endorse the video, branding it one of the greatest pieces of evidence. It says Trump. It's one of the greatest.
One of the greatest pieces of evidence for what? That
that's
we
just the kind
have
of
UFOs?
They cut off his whole quote. Like they just say one of the greatest is his quote, and then the writer of this article puts in pieces of evidence. So, yeah, it's funny with how they do that. Arteaga and his co-pilot Daniel were in the skies above Colombia when they noticed a strange object moving in their direction. At that point, Arteaga started filming and began to follow the UFO with the aircraft. The pilot expressed fear when the object started moving towards him. The aircraft was flying at a speed of 300, we'll just put it in good old American English, guys, 186 miles per hour. Come on, we don't need that other stuff. With temperatures falling to 5 degrees Celsius. Come on now.
I want to clear something up really quick.
Yeah.
The pilot expressed fear when the object started moving towards him. Now, that's not because he thought it was a UFO. That's because there was something in his immediate fly zone. And as a pilot, you go, what the hell are you doing so close to my
You don't
plane?
think if it was something he could recognize, he wouldn't be afraid he was about to collide
I
into
think,
it?
I think the fact that he couldn't recognize it came after the fact.
Yes, I agree.
And it's one of those other situations where I have to believe that he was just recording to record and wasn't expecting this to happen, because he seemed to have really like, okay, I've got this, and he locked onto it and followed it.
That's a good point.
So
That's
it's
a
very
good point.
that's very interesting to me too.
I agree. So it says, we've seen a lot of UFO footage over the years, but this still stood out from the rest. And that's the writer speaking. And the ufologist agreed. Jamie Mawson is a Mexican journalist with a very keen interest in alien activity. Mawson spoke with Ortega for an interview and shared a clip to X. We are facing one of the greatest UFO evidences of all time, captured by the Captain Pilot Aviator. Then there's his handle. Whether or not the word of a ufologist will be enough to sway skeptics remains to be seen, as you can tell on this show right now. It's no secret that there's a lot of UFO enthusiasts out there, but can you blame them for being so fascinated? Okay, I'm not going to, this is a whole other story, I think. Let's just end it there. Let's go to Wikipedia, my friends. Let's look at who you guys know. Do you guys know Jamie Mawson? You guys remember this fella? I love the photo. Love the photo. But for those just listening,
That's like a mantle photo that like goes in your study over the fireplace.
he
you know?
is an alien. Like, he might be an alien. Like, this might be an alien inside of a human body. Jose Jamie Mawson Flota, born May 31st, 1953, is a Mexican journalist, television personality, and ufologist. He has promoted claims of supposed alien remains that have turned out to be hoaxes. Guys, I won't waste your time, but you can go scroll through his Wikipedia page and look at a lot of the hoaxes he's been a part of. This was the gentleman who was with the 2 alien mummies we discussed on this show weeks ago. He is also associated with the bogus sphere. So there is your ufologist, your expert, who's authenticating this UFO video. Clearly, he has a bias. Obviously, if you're calling yourself a ufologist, I mean, I like to see what his decline rate is of videos he doesn't authenticate. That's what's interesting to me. But, you know, I do like following the stuff he talks about, because I think it's fascinating. And again, this guy's associated with the bogosphere, the boogosphere from Colombia. That wasn't just a one-off story. We've talked about it a number of times on this show. It turned into a whole thing. They had a conference about it in Mexico. We had congressmen there talking about it with this gentleman holding a Mexican, or not a Mexican, alien corpse hand. A Mexican hand would have been easier to believe. An alien corpse hand, which we still couldn't find the photo of. I've tried too. They scrubbed that conference, and I gotta try looking again.
This
Very
is
weird.
what I want to get to right here.
Show us.
This is where I start calling in my questions on this guy.
Yep.
Is it Mausan?
I don't know. I just went with
I'm pulling
one.
a Shane today. I'm
Yeah.
gonna just
I went with one. I'm gonna
just
stick with this.
Fucking do it live. Mao San was involved in publicizing a specimen dubbed Metapec creature, which later turned out to be a skinned monkey, as well as a demon fairy in 2016, which turned out to be the remains of a bat, wooden sticks, epoxy, and other unknown elements.
Yep.
We're not going to say alien because I don't think that's what they meant.
Yep.
In 2015, Mao San led an event called Be Witness, where a mummified body claimed to be of an alien child was unveiled.
Mm-hmm.
This mummified corpse was later identified as a human child. Do we go on? Mao San appeared in a video hosted by Gaia Inc., where a mummified body supposedly discovered in Peru near the Nazca Lines claimed to be a 3-fingered alien was unveiled. I don't think that there's any follow-up on that.
Wait,
they
the
kind of just left it there at
The
that.
three-fingered alien, I think, is part of the thing I've been talking about.
Is it?
With the hand that Rhett Burleson was pictured with. It's like a giant white alien hand with 3 fingers.
Oh, is that what he put on at the...
I think so. At the expo.
Jesus.
Yeah, this guy is.
They go on to talk
unbelievable.
about supposed alien bodies promoted were actually recently manufactured dolls covered with a mixture of paper and synthetic glue to simulate the presence of skin. Why do I need to think that this guy is credible when he has been literally lying about everything he's almost ever done? And he has his own channel to propagate this shit into anybody who's willing to believe it.
Yep.
Do you people understand why I am such a damn skeptic all the time?
Well, this takes away. This is like the human alien extraterrestrial version of like all the fake Me Too stuff. Because there's obviously real bad people out there who do bad things, but all the Me Too fake stuff waters it down. Now you got this extraterrestrial guy watering down all the real demon stuff that's out there. And I'm just looking at you guys in the chat. You guys are cracking me up. Someone said check his hard drive. See you, Leiden. Someone said he's the pyramid guy's cousin. That's true. I love this one from Aaron Wolf. He looks like he would help a conquering alien race find our planet. True. Someone else said Jamie is definitely controlled. He looks sus. Someone else says that's Leiden again. So you guys totally understand. I like Renee saying he looks very serious. LOL. This picture looks like it's AI. So you guys get it. It's so interesting to me that we have congressmen talking to this guy, and I like Burleson. What are you doing? Like, I wonder. I'm trying to get him on the show because I want to talk about this stuff. You know, it would be weird to just randomly reach out to him and be like, I want to know your thoughts on Musson, and maybe he won't be willing to talk about it. But he was with him in Mexico for this crazy conference about the bogosphere and the 3-fingered alien. Why? I don't get it. Before we get to callers, let's just briefly go over this story that alarmed me before I left the house to come over here. Man, oh man. We'll go to the tweet first from Secretary Kennedy. Our findings show that hospitals allowed the organ procurement process to begin when patients showed signs of life. And this is horrifying. The organ procurement organizations that coordinate access to transplants will be held accountable. The entire system must be fixed to ensure that every potential donor's life is treated with the sanctity it deserves. He is saying they basically killed people to take your organs and give them to someone else.
But they're using the excuse that, well, these people were going to die anyway.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's going to die anyway.
Does it matter if they die now or
That's what
a
they
little
say.
while from now? I mean, like...
That's what China says about the Uyghurs in the concentration camps.
Now, I feel like you see this thing with, like, brainstem death and stuff like that, where, like, the person is basically legally dead.
Right.
And in that regard, I mean, these should be the wishes of the next of kin.
Right, of
Family
course.
members, you want to take
course.
them off life support. That's your decision as a family,
Yep.
and you're the next of kin. Knock it out.
Right.
But you can't just say, okay, this guy's going to be dead in a few hours anyway. There's nobody here. Go ahead and start cutting him up.
Yeah. Put the pillow over his face, guys.
It's just not right.
So I'm going to read from the hhs.gov. This feels extremely dirty to read anything from a military government website, but I did last night too from the Lockheed Martin thing. So we're getting dirty. So take it with a grain of salt. But this is just a little more about what Kennedy tweeted about. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, under the leadership of Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., today announced a major initiative to begin reforming the organ transplant system following an investigation by its Health Resources and Services Administration that revealed disturbing practices by a major organ procurement organization. Our findings show that hospital, you guys read that, or you heard that already, the organ procurement organizations that coordinate access to transplants will be held accountable. The entire system must be fixed. Okay. The HRSA directed the Organ Procurement and Transplantation Network to reopen a disturbing case involving potentially preventable harm to a neurologically injured patient by the federally funded organ procurement organization serving Kentucky, Southwest Ohio, and part of, West Virginia. Under the Biden administration, the OPTN's Membership and Professional Standards Committee closed the same case without action. Under Secretary Kennedy's leadership, HRSA demanded a thorough, independent review of the OPO's conduct and the treatment of vulnerable patients under its care. HRSA's independent investigation revealed clear negligence after the previous OPTN board of directors claimed to find no major concerns in their internal review. You can always trust an internal review, can't you? HRSA examined 351 cases where organ donation was authorized, but ultimately not completed. And we have here 103 cases showed concerning features, including 73 patients with neurological signs incompatible with organ donation. At least 28 patients may not have been deceased at the time organ procurement was initiated, raising serious ethical and legal questions. Evidence pointed to poor neurologic assessments, lack of coordination with medical teams, questionable consent practices, and misclassification of causes of death, particularly in overdose cases. So the hospital world is scary. I love it and appreciate it and know many people who work in hospitals, but it was getting super crazy during lockdowns and COVID. You saw a lot of wild stuff happen, and you saw a lot of falsified death certificates. So that is something I think is a good thing. If this is true, what hhs.gov is saying, I hope we do take care of that, because I've never really trusted the organ stuff. You know, I would give one to a family and stuff, but just checking it off, it always seemed like...
I originally had it set up on my license when I was younger and a little more naive, and I definitely took that stamp off of there about 5 or 6 years back.
Yeah,
I will
you
not
can't
be
trust
going
it.
back.
You don't know. Like, I do think they want you dead, and they want to take your stuff. The reason I never did it is because I think they don't even give it to someone. I think they're like, well,
that's the thing. You really have
this.
no idea. You're quote unquote donated to science.
Right. Like all
Who
those
knows
bodies.
what the hell they're doing with you?
You ever go to the bodies exhibit? That's something I did. I probably wouldn't do anymore these days, but it was like that exhibit where they had like actual bodies. This is actually horrifying.
Oh, where they took them and froze them up and sliced them into thin sheets and then spread it out so you could see like
I did it in my 20s. Never thought about it until just now. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, wow, we just walked through a building of dead bodies that they spliced open. And there were reports at some point saying they might have been like Chinese prisoners of war or something, or from some concentration camp. I don't know if those were true.
That's the thing. How do you know where the hell they came from?
Right. It could have been someone who thought they were an organ donor. And they're like, this is the exact body I needed for my bodies exhibit.
Could have been a homeless guy that they picked up off the street.
Seriously.
You don't know that.
Yeah, that was a strange time, the bodies exhibit. Wow. Back when I used to date a highfalutin, rich New York City chick whose family thought things like that were the things you do on the weekends in Manhattan. And I was just a little old farmer boy. And I was like, at the time, said, this is strange, but I'll look. I remember the cardiovascular system. Like, it was like they extracted just that.
I seen that with like the nervous system where it looks like Dr. Manhattan.
Yes.
Like when he appears in the hallway. It's
That
the
stuck with me.
creepiest shit ever.
I was like, what? That is wild. But I was like, also at the time, pretty cool. Thinking back now, wow, that's disturbing.
Yeah.
We just bought tickets to walk through.
I think it's actually considered art.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Like, it's scientific art.
I'm sure. It's like that cow they spliced up. I think that was in Manhattan as well for a while. That you could like almost see through the cow as it was cut up. But, okay, let's get some callers, shall we?
Yeah, we can do that.
I'm going to move. And maybe I can hear them.
Hopefully sound works over there. So I am going to...
My bottle just tipped over and there's a hole. This is a crazy day in this room.
What the hell is happening?
Like, I'm shotgunning this drink, but I didn't do that. I swear, it just tipped over and then a hole opened up and spit out.
So you're gonna see.
That is hilarious.
You're gonna see Shane run through my camera here. It's completely unavoidable. He's way too tall to hide from common eyes. Yep, there he goes. Hey, he made it. All right, let's.
Yo.
So let's. Do you got sound over
there?
there?
I can hear you. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can they hear me? Yo, can y'all hear me?
I could crank you up a little bit if you need it.
I look so small in here as compared to 6'7" Kevin, who is literally 6'7", who could not stand in this room. Sweet.
Okay. All
like
right.
a child with an old man face.
Yeah, I think that camera needs to be adjusted, but we'll have to.
We'll do it. It's all good.
We'll have to.
We'll do it live.
Time. All right, so let me look at the old list here. Let's see who we got.
This is like how it used to be in the room. Like this, like
yeah, that's actually
close.
where you were my first show here, believe it or not. All right, let's get to.
Oh shoot. I need my drink. I'll be right back.
He's going to run through it again, folks.
Sorry.
That's twice. All right, so we got... how the hell do I do this with the cam now? Because you're completely not on the camera.
That's hilarious.
I guess we're doing it this way. It's fine. I do not have a microphone for this person. If you can enable your mic. It looks like it's pronounced skit. S-S-K-T.
Skit.
All right, if you can hear us, we'll come back to you. You got to get your mic working there.
Hello.
Oh.
Hello, hello.
Hang on. I'm going to bring him back. I heard it.
I did too.
Hello, can you hear us? What is happening today?
I'm just reading comments now. Renee said, I'm on the casting couch. Thanks, Renee.
Yeah, I saw the casting couch
That's
one.
good.
Hello, can you hear us?
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Awesome.
Welcome to the show.
How you doing?
No, it's just SSKT.
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us on this crazy night. Are you there?
It's mine working.
Yep, we can hear you loud and clear. If you'd like to share a story with us, the floor is yours.
Well, I've been hearing you talk a lot about spirit and spirit being energy.
Yep.
And I'd just like to add my take to that.
Please do. You can take it away.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I got shut down.
Oh, it's okay. We can hear you, and whenever you're ready to go, you can go for it.
Okay. So, y'all talk about spirit a lot and how spirit is energy.
Yep.
Okay.
Did you?
I think she might be getting lag. I don't know if she's listening to the show.
Yeah. If we're on in the background, you can turn us down. If maybe just listen to us through Zoom. But we are hearing you, and you can continue with your story.
Well, there's a lot of people that have lived through a lot of trauma.
Yeah. Or maybe she's cutting out.
No, it doesn't sound like it.
Interesting.
Mike is saying there. I'm not 100% sure.
We might have to come back to her. Because we are not hearing you. So sorry.
Yeah, she's...
Okay, my take on this is that as a small child, I was highly traumatized, starting at about 4 years old. And
Yeah, I think we're cutting. I think she's listening back, and we're cutting her off.
Some people have to hold on to I think that oh no, that's with the Discord. We're on Zoom. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, we keep losing you. I'm so sorry because I'd like to hear what you're saying, but we keep losing you. So maybe we're going to boot you right now. And if you stick around, we'll try to come back to you. Because I am interested in what you're saying. We do talk about this stuff a lot and the way trauma and energy work together. But yeah, we'll go to the next one and come back to you. So sorry. Like I said, I also listen to old Art Bell episodes, and there's so many where he has so many crazy technical issues, and it's like a sigh of relief. And it's like 15 years into his time. So just imagine, you can have 15 years of technical difficulties. It'll never go away.
Yeah, this is nuts. I'm even having a hard time over here. But I think, hey, look at that. Some progress has been made.
All right.
Okay, so this is going splendid. Let's get who do we got here? Sorry, I'm trying to checklist to make sure.
The chat is blaming Surge. I just want to say that out loud.
I'm gonna let it happen, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let it happen.
Yeah. I'm going to Mandela effect all of this, that it wasn't Brandon, it was actually Serge. I love you, Serge.
All right, let's go to Jeremy B. Jeremy, you're on the show. What's up?
Hello, how you guys doing?
Good. How are
Hear me
you?
okay?
Yeah.
Oh, I can barely hear you.
He can barely hear us, he says. How about now?
Oh, that's better.
All right, cool.
Okay.
Take it away.
So, well, I don't know if you guys had a good sleep paralysis story. My first time having sleep paralysis when I was 21. I had just moved into my new first apartment, and like most people, it's like, it just feels like there's someone in the room, and you can't move. And for those of you who have never experienced it, it's like having, fight or flight, except you can't do either one. So it's terrifying. And second time was just in like a couple days later, but then the next time wasn't until like 6 months later. And I was living in a different place, and this time I actually saw something, and it looked like a snake. I mean, because it had like a forked tongue, and it was like flicking in my face. But the only thing I could see, it just looked like if you took a 2x4, painted it black, and then just hovered it, a few inches above me. And by this time, I had read up on sleep paralysis, so I kind of knew sort of what was happening. And after being initially freaked out by seeing something this time, it was like, I don't know, I could move my head a little bit, so I tried to lift up, and I was trying to actually bite the tongue that was in my face until I was able to, recover and get, I could move again. So it was.
Is that the only time that's happened? You said there was multiple times?
Yeah, well, that was the only time I actually saw something.
What were the other times like? You were just like in paralysis, but didn't see anything. But other than your
yeah, the first few times it was like you didn't see anything, but so this time I saw something, and yeah, but like it's strangely like it was like I took the fear and like turned it around, so it wasn't, after initially being startled by it, it's like I took that fear and used it, so because I think, whether people experience, whether it's a ghost or a demon or whatever experience they have, I think those things feed on fear.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And so I feel like if you were able to take that fear back and turn it around and use it for yourself, that, I think it's useful in that respect.
How did you end up doing that after the snake thing? Like, were you done? Did you have any more experiences like that?
Well, not until like 5 years later. And again, living in a different place, but as one does in their 20s, and I actually had sleep paralysis like 3 to 4 times a night for like a year.
Oh my goodness, that's terrible.
But it'd be like 3 weeks on, and then that'd be a couple of weeks where nothing, and then another 4 weeks on, for about a year and a half.
Do you think it was brought on by stress? Was there anything happening in your life that would make it worse?
I don't think any more than usual. But when it was happening, it wasn't, again, I never saw anything, but I did feel it made contact with me, because like it would start like, if you're sleeping on your back, and if someone were to be straddling your torso, and their thighs would be on your side, like on your rib cage. That's how it would feel. That's what would wake me up, was like feeling something on my rib cage on each side.
Okay, so
And then-
in these
and I-
all these times in this 5 years after the snake, this is more of like
Yeah.
sensations
And then-
you're having while you're in sleep paralysis.
Yeah, and then that would wake me up initially, and then I would feel weight on like my stomach, like it was sitting on me.
Wow.
And it got to be where it was so common that it almost got annoying. It wasn't scary anymore. I mean, initially I'd feel it, and even before I like was fully awake, I would say, "Oh, it's happening again!" Like, and then I would wake up and again couldn't see anything, but I felt it, and at first I was telling it to go away. I'm just say go away, and then I would fully wake up and it would be fine. But after a while, I was actually just saying, what do you want? You got my attention. What is it you want? But nothing ever came. Nothing.
No answer from it.
Yeah. No. So, and like I said, this went on for like a year and a half, and then after that, I haven't had it since. And it's been 15 years.
Wow. How soon after you asked what did it want did it stop?
Well, it was probably like a half a year before that.
Oh, wow.
So it went on for like another half a year.
Did you end up talking to anyone about it? Friends, family, or anyone else?
Well, no. Initially, I talked to my mother about the very first time, and I don't think she really even knew what sleep paralysis was or anything. But then, obviously, you look it up and you're like, wow, people have been experiencing it for thousands of years, probably.
Yep.
So,
yeah, a lot of very similar stories that pass through the ages, and people, talk about it forever. It's a very interesting thing. Like I've said before, I've experienced it once, that I know of, that I remember. It's alarming, and I did see something. Then I saw this weird tentacle shaped shadow moving on the ceiling above me as I couldn't move, and I did not like that. So having to go through that multiple times, I can't imagine. And you're not the only person who's called in who's experienced prolonged time with sleep paralysis. But I'm glad it stopped. Thank God.
yeah, and I think part of dealing with it, I think, is taking that fear and just turning it around and using it for yourself instead of letting it use it.
That's the
whatever
truth.
it is,
Yep, that is the truth. Totally agree. Well, thank you for calling in, man. Appreciate you sharing that story.
No problem.
Have a good night.
You too.
Ooh-wee. How you doing over there, Brandon?
I've slipped into the seventh circle of hell. Thank you very
It's
much.
been quiet. Like you haven't been typing furiously. It feels like you're somewhat. Are we in clearer waters?
We're
Calmer?
fine right now. I'm still playing kind of background damage control here.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
It's hard to fix the amount of fuck ups that I have created tonight.
Oh, it's okay,
But
dude.
we're doing okay.
We've had so many issues in here. It happens. Don't feel bad.
We're
got
gonna make it.
It's all good.
We're gonna make it. But
Let's-
yes, I am hyper texting all kinds of people right now about some of this shit, and we'll get it figured out. In the meantime, let's get back to the phones. We are going to bring on Gil. And I'm going to have to hide again because I don't have a button that includes me into this conversation with a guest. So, Gil, if you can unmute, you are on the show. Welcome.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
can.
Oh wow, it's super cool.
Awesome. What's up?
I'm a big fan.
Oh, thank you.
Oh man, this is exciting. I actually have a sleep paralysis story as well.
All right.
I thought it was a weird coincidence.
Yep. That seems to
actually-
happen a lot on this show. We love that.
Yeah. I've been listening to a couple of shows lately, and a lot of coincidences. I've always wanted to go ahead and well, since I listen, call in.
Awesome.
And yeah, we're doing it. Actually, the reason why I got excited to go ahead and call in is yesterday, I logged in and I wanted to go ahead and say, oh, let me go ahead and tell my story. And I was hearing a guy, I think it was about his grandma had a home in Iowa, and there was like something about portals with a mirror.
Yep. Quad City. He saw what he thought was a demon in that bedroom with 3 doors and 3 mirrors.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I thought that was really weird because my story had something to do with that as well.
Oh, interesting.
And I'll explain a little bit on what it is. But sleep paralysis, I've always, I guess, experienced it when I was young, 14 up to like 16 or 17. Like it was like on and off, not like every day, but every so often. So it wasn't like something, let's say, new to me.
Right.
And I'm actually located in Mexico. I'm not in the States.
Awesome.
So here in Mexico, we have a different perspective on sleep paralysis, or at least I've heard this many times, where we go ahead and call it subirse el muerto. And that translates to the dead is on top of you, or the dead got on top of you, which is kind of, I guess,
that real quick, that actually ties into what we were talking about last week. We were talking with 6'7" Kevin about Mexico. I think we were talking about people were talking about where do we go when we sleep, and this connection between the second you said muerte connection with sleep paralysis. I mean, that is a weird connection to death and sleep.
Right. Yeah, I was actually really intrigued with the. I haven't seen the 6'7" Kevin's what was
documentary.
Yep.
Documentary, but yeah, there's a lot of that whole Santa Muerte thing and a lot of voodoo magic that's happening here in Mexico.
Okay.
But I'll go ahead and mention that in another call.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's the perspective that or the commentary that I've heard throughout the years. I was raised in the States and then came back to Mexico, and when I had this, I would ask people around. They would be like, "Oh, the dead got on top of you, no? El muerto se te subió." So I always thought that was interesting. And then one day I was talking about this. I don't remember why we were talking about this. I was with one of my best friends, and his mom, she asked me, "Hey, do you have not windows, a mirror in your room or a TV?" And in fact, I did at that time had a mirror specifically like pointing to, I guess, my bed. And I was like, "Yeah, I do." It's like, okay, grab the mirror and then take it or just don't have it pointing to your bed, or don't have it in the room at all, because those are portals, and TVs are also portals. And I was like, okay, so that's a little bit interesting. And the reason why I thought it was interesting, because she's like a fortune teller. I don't know what you guys would call it, but somebody that reads your hand, and she tells you like your future and all that. Right.
Interesting.
But not only that, she also does what we call trabajos, or it's like a work, and it's like white or black magic as well.
Oh wow.
So tying in alongside with the whole Santa Muerte thing, she is a lady that if someone wants to go ahead and, let's say, do like a hex or a spell on someone, you would go to that person to do it.
Wow.
I've never really like known or like have any personal experience about that, but I've heard people that have had, I guess, hexes or spells done on them, and some of them could be like, for example, if you want your, I don't know, your wife or your husband to stop cheating on you or whatever, they would go ahead and put an amarre, it's called, and it's translated to a tie, or tying someone to you, so that person can only like think about you and will be completely obsessed about you, and I guess they won't cheat on you, I suppose. But not only that, she would go ahead and do, for example, if you have a drug addiction, they would go ahead and like put I guess, spell on you so the addiction would stop. So those type of things. Again, I've never really experienced. I've only heard like stories. So, but I thought I'm like, okay, she kind of, I suppose, knows what she's talking about with the whole windows things, portal things. So, anyways, the years pass by. I still get sleep paralysis, and then when I was like in my mid 20s, I was living with my wife. Well, she was my girlfriend at that time, and we didn't have a lot of things like the previous guy said. Uh, didn't have a lot of furniture. We only had a mattress in our room and a drawer on the side, and we had this mirror, and the mirror's pretty big. It's probably like half of my size, and I'm like 5'8" or 5'9". And she would go ahead and grab that, and she would sit on the mattress near the pillow area, I suppose, and she would go ahead and do her makeup and use that and kind of lean the mirror against the cabinet or whatever that thing is. Anyways, we were going out that day, and we just went out, came back, went to sleep right away, and that night I start getting sleep paralysis. I'm not again. I usually don't see anything as well. What I remember is I'm sleeping on my side on my left. My wife would be in the back of me, and I get the sleep paralysis sensation. The whole works, right? I can't move. I can't make a sound. I just feel like something on top of me, right? And it gets to this point where I'm already familiar with the sensation, so I'm not really like startled, but I'm kind of like, guess, okay, here we go again. So I try to move and try to make noise. I'm like, if I make a little bit of noise, I can go ahead and wake up my girlfriend or wife. And anyways, I'm kind of like struggling, and then all of a sudden I just wake up. So I'm getting up, and as I'm getting up, I'm going to turn around to, I guess, let my girlfriend know, hey, I just had sleep paralysis, and I see her waking up at the same time and then getting up as well. And I look at her, and she has this kind of like startled face looking at me, and I'm like, okay. And I tell her, I just had sleep paralysis. And she looks at me, and her face goes to even more, I guess, a shock, and she's like, I just had sleep paralysis as well. And I was like, okay, this is really weird. I go to turn on the light, and the first thing I see is that effing mirror. And the mirror is on top of us. Well, I guess not on top of us, but if you're laying down and you, I guess, look up, or it's kind of like in the headrest area.
Okay.
So it's looking down upon us, I suppose. I don't know if I explained that
like
correctly.
like the mirror. Did the mirror actually move, or just from the angle you're at, you can see that it's like above you?
Oh, no, I guess not levitating, but when what she told me is that when she stopped doing her makeup, she set the mirror down.
Okay.
And the reflection is, I guess, we can see ourselves in the reflection as you're laying down. So it's basically the mirror is, yeah, I guess, against the wall, and it's reflecting us. So if it comes back to I guess the whole portal thing. If we look at the mirror, like we're both laying down, we can see the reflection, and we're both laying down there, right? And I thought that was super weird because I've always talked about this experience with other people who had sleep paralysis, because it never has happened where, or I've heard of someone having the same, I guess, multiple sleep paralysis at the same time.
Yeah.
And I thought that was super weird, super interesting.
It is. It is. We've actually had a long time ago. We had a guest on the show talking about a very similar situation, but he actually encountered some sort of demon in that sleep paralysis, and his family was experiencing a very similar situation, sleep paralysis wise, and what they encountered on the same night, and it went on for like a little bit of time. It's creepy. Was the mirror like, so when it comes to this lady who does the works, the magic, does she have an idea of like, is it all mirrors? Do you, like, I don't know if she even talked about that with you, but or if you have an idea on that. Is it all mirrors or certain mirrors that this happens with?
I'm assuming it's all mirrors. It was a while back, so I don't really remember a lot of detail in that conversation. But she mentioned mirrors, and I'm assuming she like any type of mirror. And she also mentioned old TVs, not the new ones that we currently have, but the old ones with like the box and everything.
That's an interesting distinction.
Yeah.
Wonder why. Not the
And
flat screen.
her reasoning was, if you do have a TV, to disconnect it and not let it like be connected to light. And I guess I'm assuming because these are energies, it had something to do with that. And the mirror aspect, again, there's also that whole thing about like mirrors and portals and this and that.
Yep.
But I thought it was super interesting that like she correlated mirrors with sleep paralysis, and also that this happened specifically when the mirror wasn't, I guess, resting and it was looking. The reflection was towards us when we were asleep, both. And I thought that was super weird. And also her background, like she does all these like black magic and all of that, which I was
Yeah,
like,
that
oh,
stuff's wild. When it comes to what you said, the different way the Mexican culture looks at sleep paralysis and that the dead get on top of you, is it considered all like a bad thing if it happens to you? Or is there some times where that's good? Because I know there's things like the Day of the Dead where you celebrate the dead to a
Right.
much larger degree than we do in the States. And I think there's something cool about that, not forgetting the dead, celebrating them. We're doing it at the beginning of this
Yeah.
show with Ozzy. But when it comes to the sleep paralysis and the dead get on top of you, how is that like interpreted?
yeah, it's never been like a good thing
Yeah.
from what I heard. I haven't done like a deep dive on this actually. This is actually pretty interesting to look into.
Yeah.
But every time that I had a conversation with someone about this, it's always like, oh, it's awful. You don't want this to happen. And I don't know. I guess the popular belief is that, yeah, it's like someone that's not supposed to be there that's getting on top of you for some reason or the other.
Yeah. It doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to the hexes and stuff, do the people, I don't know if you know this, but do the people who have been hexed, do they know that they've been hexed, or is there something that happens when they find out?
Oh yeah, there's ways that you can go ahead and find out that there's been a like, I don't know, a spell or a hex on you. The one of the stories that I'm remembering it. One of my cousins, I guess he had a hex on him, and what they did, well, the family was kind of like, specifically his sisters. They were like, "Why are you with this girl? Like, she's not your type. She has not. You guys have nothing in common, right?" And they were kind of like, and he was like obsessed with that girl. And jokingly, they were like, "Oh, maybe she has a hex on you or whatever." And they grabbed an egg and what they call it, I guess, a limpia, or a cleaning, and they just like grabbed the egg and they I guess went through his body with it. I don't know, like kind of like a bar soap, and I guess cleaned them with the egg. Like they grabbed an egg, it wasn't broken or anything. It was like an egg.
Right.
They I don't know, rubbed the egg against his body a couple of times, and then they broke it and they put it in a glass. And I think that they were told, put that glass with the egg, put it underneath his bed and wait till tomorrow, so he'll go to sleep and he'll wake up and see what happens. He woke up and they went to see the egg and it was completely black, like it was there for like days, like spoiled.
Wow. It absorbed the hex.
Yeah, kind of like that. Again, I wasn't there, so I can't go ahead and say that is real. But I've heard that
Right.
that's common. Yeah.
Yeah. I've on the witches I have encountered, they do talk about this stuff. They take the hexes very seriously. It's wild. So, but that's wild stuff, man. I appreciate the phone call, and it'd be great to hear from you again. Give us a call.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks for
Thank
listening.
you guys for having me. I'm a huge
course.
fan.
Thank you so much, man. It's great to hear from you. See ya. That's crazy.
Dude,
I think there's a hex on this room.
all I'm saying is any ghost tries to get on top of me, they better be buying me a few drinks first. I ain't dealing with that
The
shit.
ghost with the most.
No, thank you.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's I'm just gonna say some prayers over this room, but I do think maybe it's worth.
Oh, you're not going to sage the damn thing, are you?
I'm not gonna sage. Nah.
I just got it smelling normal in here.
We got the bodies out of here in our little casket, but whew, that's wild. I love that. Different. The dead get on top of you. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, no, that's not something I want to think about, honestly.
Nope. Well,
no thanks.
Let's do another caller.
Yep. So,
and thank you to everyone who's sticking around for this wild night, our debaucherous circus of a night. It feels like old school inverted world, where for those who've been here since day one, this is nothing new.
Yeah, thank you to everybody on Rumble for dealing with my bullshit tonight too. I think we're back on track now, so apologies to everybody that had to leave and come back at the beginning of the show. It was a whole shit show.
It's all good. You got it, dude.
Let's roll over to Monica. She was here last night and we didn't get her. Let's get her on here. Was that an Insta drop? Oh, Monica, you're on the show. Can you unmute and say what's up?
Someone said, I think it's the curse of the farmer in that room. It's very possible. That was Russian colluder.
You know, I was honestly considering trying to find like a fake bat to bite the head off of in the middle of the show and just throw it, and I'm almost wishing I did. Monica, you there?
Yes, sir.
Hey, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I love y'all's show.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's so interesting to hear everyone else's stories and things they've gone through in life that are unusual, because I've gone through so many things. Like, it's just, I mean, I think some people can see things and feel things and get to witness things that other people don't.
Yep.
And I think it's got something to do with like being closed-minded, and some people are just open-minded and they get to see things that other people can't see because they just don't want to see it, or they shut themselves off from it.
Yep, and I totally agree. Growing up, the routine you fall into, it kind of takes you away from everything that's strange. Sorry, what were you say?
I was going to say, I think some people are more sensitive to it than other people.
Yeah.
Definitely. Also, because there's something genetic about it too, where some people just are born with something different, where they can feel and see things other people can't feel and see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of children, are like susceptible to seeing all this weird stuff, and some people just don't outgrow that, that ability to peek behind the veil of reality, or so-called reality. So yeah, it's amazing hearing from everyone's stories.
Did you ever have any childhood experiences, Shane, where you saw things that couldn't really be explained?
Oh yeah, I grew up in the middle of the woods with no neighbors and no real anything. So there's a lot of shadow things in the woods.
Yes.
Just things I really couldn't explain. The house was really old, and so I never really saw your quintessential ghost, but there were ghost adjacent situations constantly happening. The sounds in the attic that made no sense. There was a room in the house that no one could ever get into in the 30 years we lived there. It was a very strange aspect of that house. I had to once lasso the chimney on the outside of the house to crawl up and look into that room. That's a whole other thing, but I think there was something weird about that room. And there's always just a weird feeling in that house. The only way I can describe it is when you talk about those, you think about those old televisions, like a Magnavox with those big boxy TVs. And if you had it on channel 3 or something, it would be a silent channel that had a very slight hum to it, like the static channel with a hum, but not the distorted sound, just a hum, like it was on and you knew it was on. Even if the house always had that feeling, that sound, even if the TV was off, there was just a weird low hum happening.
I've also heard that sound. I've heard that sound in my Nana and Papa's house whenever I was younger.
It's weird. What do you think it was?
Whenever I was really little, 5 or 6 years old, I'd be trying to go to sleep and I would hear that humming noise, always constantly humming. And I'd ask my Nana, I'd be like, what is that noise? I can't sleep. It's bothering me. And she'd be like, that's just, you know, it's just normal. That's just the way it's supposed to sound. And whenever I wasn't there, I didn't hear that sound. And
Yep.
I guess the story, I'll tell one story because I know there's a lot of people that want to speak, and I'll call back later on and tell more stories.
Please.
But the one story that I want to talk about is that humming sound that you were talking about, because whenever I was little, I heard that sound at her house every time I spent the night there, and I was there all the time. And it would be like just a constant low hum. And then one time I was over there cleaning when I was 15 years old, and I was cleaning the house because I used to clean for her to get a little extra money. You know, when you're in high school, you do what you can to make money. And so I was in one of the bedrooms dusting the you know, shelves and cabinets and drawers and everything, and all of a sudden I heard the humming noise, but it went so loud, and this is during the day, like at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it got so loud that it was like, have you ever been like near a speaker that's hooked up to an amplifier and it gets so loud that you feel like your eardrums are going to burst?
Of course.
And it was just, I felt like I was cornered. Like I felt like something was coming at me that I couldn't see, and I felt cornered in that room. And it just got louder and louder and more, you know, abrasive. Like it was trying to attack me on a physical level, like with my senses.
Yep.
And so I was just like, I've got to get out of here, like right now. Like, and so I ran out of the room, ran down the hallway, ran out of the house. And then I realized I left my keys in the house, and I was like, oh, I got to go back in there and get those keys because I can't leave if I don't have my keys. And so I must have sat outside for like an hour before I got the nerve to go back inside, because I had just felt like I was so attacked, like something in the house wanted to really get at me, and no one else was home. It was just me there.
Wow. Yeah. That's then did you hear it again?
When I went back in, it just felt like whatever was in that room with me was all over the house, and it was like, get out. Like that's what I felt in my head, was something was telling me, you better get out. Go.
That is scary. I think it's like a thing. You know I have my own stories about it. You've got yours, but you can look it up. There's a lot of people who have encountered this hum, and everyone's got a different explanation for it. You know, some people write it off as there's people I think near windmills. They had their own hum, but there's I think high frequency stuff happening all across the world that creates the hum. I think it could be other things from another dimension affecting people that we can't understand or see. But it's weird, and when you hear it, it's bothersome. And you understand, like the way you described it. When that happens to someone a lot, you can understand how it drives someone crazy.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, like, this, whatever this is trying, it seems like it's trying to make you feel like you're crazy. Like, it's like, well, why can no one else hear it? Or do they just shut themselves off from hearing it? Or they're used to hearing it and they don't think it's a big deal,
right?
Because they're so used to hearing it, but it gets so loud that day. And it was only that one time that it got so loud like that I was actually like physically felt like something's gonna attack me. Like, I have to get out of here. And so there was no reason. Didn't see anything, but whenever I was running down the hallway to get out of there, I did feel like there was somebody behind me, like chasing me, but I didn't look back to see what was behind me. I was just like, get out of here, fight or flight. And I'm flighting.
and just to make it clear for everyone, you're not talking about just a ringing in the ear that people get. You're talking about a sustained, like low hum. Well, maybe it wasn't low, but it's like a hum, like more of like a bigger volume hum attacking you.
Yeah, at first it sounds like it's like a speaker hooked to an amplifier, and it's on low volume, and then all of a sudden it got turned all the way up as loud as it can go, and it was like, like it was like, physically my ears were like, ow, like what am I hearing? Wasn't drinking, no drugs, completely sober, 15 years old, just cleaning the house, and all of a sudden it was like something was trying to get at me. Like it wanted me to be scared, obviously, but it just wanted me out of there. Like it wanted me to get out of the house, and that's what I sensed was, get out now, get out.
Yep. And, you know, I don't know if this is, I don't think this is what you experience. I'm not sure. But they do have weapons that do this now to people. You know, the LRAD stuff, the way they take care of, like, crowd dispersal technologies, they have this, like, frequency they hit people with. It actually makes their blood feel like it's boiling.
Wow.
It's really intense. And you can look up, people, it's not a hum so much as it's like a high squelching, like, banshee sound. And you can see people that are like being tested on, or you can see crowds getting hit with it, and it looks like it hurts. It's a terrible sound.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does, because it makes your whole body like want to respond. Like,
Yeah.
I've got to do something. Like right now, like it makes you want to like I've got to do something to stop this.
Yep.
And if you can't get away from it, that's torture.
And then it also makes you think about something like cymatics. We talk about in the show a bunch. I don't know if you know about it, where they're using sound frequencies to actually make shapes in like sand. It's basically about how frequency can literally affect solids, you know, and actually move things. So if they know this is an ancient practice, and if they know they can do that with solid objects or something like sand and make a pattern with frequencies, you know, there's no telling what they can do with the sound for people, whether it's a weapon or something else using it, or if it's just a byproduct of some, you know, mechanism, some technology. And some people, like you said, can hear it and some can't. You know how they say some people after a certain age can't hear certain high frequencies, and others can. So,
well, that's just like the dog, you know, the whistles they use for dogs to train them. Like, we can't hear it, but the dog sure can.
Yep.
And so when you have an animal and you see the animal acting weird, you're like, what's wrong with my dog? What's wrong with my cat? Like, they can hear or see something you don't see or hear, because they hear things and see things we can't.
Yep. Exactly.
So I think it's also that like that with humans. Like, some people can see and hear things other people can't.
I 100% agree. Well,
thank you so much for taking my call.
Yes.
I really enjoyed talking with y'all.
Oh, awesome. It was great to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for calling in, and please call back with other stories.
I will. Thank you for your show. I love it.
Oh, thank you so much. This audience is the best. Love you guys. And before we get to the next caller, you can pull up if you want, Brandon, but there is the hum has a Wikipedia page. And the hum is a persistent and invasive low-frequency humming, rumbling, or droning noise audible to many, but not all people. Hums have been reported in many countries, including the United States, the United Kingdom, Australia, and Canada. They are sometimes named according to the locality where the problem has been particularly publicized, such as Taos Hum in New Mexico and the Windsor Hum in Ontario. The hum does not appear to be a single phenomenon. Different causes have been attributed, including local mechanical sources, often from industrial plants, as well as manifestations of tinnitus or other biological auditory effects. It's a real thing. Like this bugs people out. There are people who cannot escape the hum. A 1973 report cites a university study of 50 cases of people complaining about a low, throbbing background noise that others were unable to hear. The sound, always peaking between 30 and 40 megahertz, was found to only be heard during cool weather with a light breeze, and often early in the morning. These noises were often confined to a 6-mile wide area. So there's a whole bunch of ones, different examples here. I'll read one short one. In 2006, Tom Moore, then of Massey University in Auckland, New Zealand, made several recordings that appeared to be the Auckland hum. His previous research using simulated sounds had indicated that the hum was around 56 hertz. So there's a lot of people with this. Some possible explanations, according to Wikipedia. We got high-pressure gas pipelines, background sounds, mechanical devices, and I'm just going briefly over certain things. Tinnitus, like I said, spontaneous otoacoustic emissions, which is various studies have shown that 38 to 60% of adults with normal hearing have them. This is just a human ear generating its own noise. The people who do hear these sounds typically hear a faint, hissing, cicada-like sound. Cicadas are coming back this year, by the way. I think it's a 17
I saw
year
actually
cicada.
a couple in Chicago
back?
when I was there. It wasn't as crazy as this last summer, which was one of the worst, most terrifying things I've ever experienced in my life. Was living in the Midwest during cicada season last year.
It's like a plague.
Were literally everywhere.
It's a
like
plague.
You were dodging them on the roads. Like you would walk into your building and the entire front was just a carpet of dead cicadas on the ground. Like you were stepping on them, crunching them constantly. They're bouncing off of your car, and it's
gross. It's crazy that that's a weather pattern.
The birds ate good.
The birds ain't great, yeah.
The birds
it's
had a real
amazing.
good time.
It's a miracle for the birds.
I was watching them dive across the roads and stuff while driving, taking them out in midair. It just looked like they were having so much fun,
Incredible.
and I was not.
Other explanations are jet stream, animals. One of the many possible causes of the West Seattle hum considered was that it was related to the midshipman fish, also known as a toadfish. A previous hum in Sausalito, California, also on the west coast of the United States, was determined to be the mating call of the male midshipman. And again, that is a fish. That is not someone in the Navy. However, well, they might also do that too. However, in that case, the hum was resonating through houseboat holes and affecting the people living on those boats. I don't know. That's like a crazy thing. I know this hum, but everyone's got a different explanation for it. But that is a wild one, that it was the toadfish mating that made you hear the hum. Well, that was a great call. We should get to another caller.
Yeah, let's do it. And actually, too, while we got a second, I want to touch on like, subscribe, follow, share, all that good stuff. You actually, when we were you were talking about the frequencies that they were using as audio warfare, basically. You ever notice for like the emergency broadcast system, when you get an alert on your phone that there's some kind of an immediate warning?
Yep.
The noises that they're making are very high pitched and tend to make the hair stand up on the back of your neck. That's on purpose.
Yeah.
This is a demonstration of that audio warfare, but only being used to the point to where it's just enough to grab your attention fully and hold it for a moment so that you pay attention to what's happening.
Right.
If you were to just get a notification on your phone, hey, a tornado's coming, your iPhone's just going to go ding.
Yeah.
You know, and you're going to be like, oh, I'll get to that shit later. And then, you know, people end up dead. So I get why they're doing it, but that's also part of the experimentation that they've done in
100%.
order to take that further and actually cause physical pain, manifestations of fear, reactions bodily to different types of frequencies.
I wonder if even the pinging of a phone is somehow a part of that, you know, because that seems to induce anxiety in people these days. Just a normal text message ping to people is, I hate that sound.
Yeah, I keep my stuff like turned way down so that it's like I'm
on silent. Yeah,
it's not. Yeah,
I hate that sound.
I go with vibration all the time because I just don't want to hear noise.
Yep.
I would rather my phone just be like.
Yep. I don't like it, but I think that sound alone causes anxiety. But the old school like radio emergency broadcast sound, like I was thinking, maybe we should play that for people, and then immediately was like, no, we should not play that for people.
Yeah,
it's a terrible sound.
But then I think about AOL, and I was like, well, what the hell was their problem?
The dial-up
like that
sound.
was just a dick move.
That
like,
was.
I was
Why
one
did
of
they do
those
that?
kids trying to sign on in the middle of the night while his parents were sleeping, and I had to smother my PC with a pillow so that you couldn't hear me get on the internet. Like,
was it an organ donor?
Jesus, man,
trying to kill it.
I don't miss that
goodness.
shit. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah,
but
that's a good
I
point.
digress.
That is a good point.
So let's get to. I know Gian was in here last night waiting, so let's get Gian on here. We'll try to get to one or two more people here if we can.
Yup.
Gian, welcome back.
What up?
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Of course. How are you?
I'm doing well. Excited to be here. I had a BlackBerry when I was in high school, and it used to make the sound that went do-do-do-do-do-do.
That's right. Yep.
Do-do-do-do-do-do, right before I got a text message.
Oh, wow.
And it was only with the BlackBerry.
Yeah. Interesting. Those were crazy phones. Everyone had a BlackBerry back in the day. And when I was,
they were cool for a little bit. Those and
yeah.
sidekicks were massive.
So, especially for the touring bands.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone
you had to have a
sidekick. I had an old Nokia, indestructible Nokia.
I dropped mine in a cup of iced tea one time, but we're not going to talk about that. It was a very sad day for me.
Well, what is going on, sir?
So the last time we talked, You illustrated, Shane, that I locked us in this determinist box, and I think you were correct about that. So I want to help us break out of that box
All right,
today.
sick. Let's hear it.
Let me find my notes real quick. 1 sec.
Awesome. While you do that, for those who don't know, determinism is the idea that everything is already set out in stone that you do. There is no free will. It is all determined. It is predetermined, and there's no way of breaking it. And there are extremists within the determinism camp who believe that we shouldn't even punish people because it's all been predetermined, as their punishments cannot be held accountable for their punishments. Wild stuff. Very interesting thing to think about. But Gian, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
All right. So you've mentioned what was his name? Sam Harris.
Sam Harris, yes.
So I looked him up. I listened to an interview or whatever with him and Joe Rogan. And so the first thing I disagree with Sam Harris on, like I agreed with most of what he was saying, but the first thing I disagree with was he was saying that, or what I heard him saying, I don't know if this is what he's saying. What I heard him saying was that we don't have any control or like any choice in the information we receive.
Right.
And I fundamentally disagree with that, especially in the age of the internet. If I want to learn something, I can look it up.
Right. He would say, and like for those listening, Sam Harris is a determinist. I totally don't agree with much of what Sam says, but definitely not determinism. And Gian, you're saying you don't agree with the fact that there's no choice at all, and that's based on the fact that you can go out onto the internet and then make all these different choices?
Well, yeah, like that's one example. So in the conversation he was having with Joe, he was saying that, hey, Joe, if you tell me something and I learn something from that, I didn't have any choice in learning that information. Like that was given to me.
Right.
And that's like how he thinks or what I heard him say, he thinks everybody receives information. It just happens to you. And that's where I break out of the determinist box is I believe we are products of our environment. However, we also are the architects, or we can be the architects of our environment, which then allows us to like, oh shit, I lost my train of thought.
Well, this is exactly where we started our very first conversation that you had on the show about how you were saying environment dictates your identity, everything about you. But I was trying to say, I think that can happen, obviously, for some people and for a lot of people, but also there's so many examples of people breaking that mold and getting out because they've had that free will to make those choices, to learn something, to receive new information, seek out new information, and get out of that, cage that they've been born into. I don't know if that helps where you were going.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the source of, what allows people to break out, I think that's really what people disagree on. But
what do you mean by the source? Like,
well, I would say for me and you, Shane, like you think God is the source of being able to break out of your starting conditions. And I think it's more just the will of a human to survive. I think in order to survive, you're going to want it to do things that produce better results than you had in the past. So like as a just survival of the fittest, I think having community, having people that you trust, people that you can come to when you have a problem, that makes sense. I think that's a really good way to survive, having, group.
Totally.
And so like whether your group is in your religion or your faith or in your school or like your field of education, whatever you're doing, the people around you, I think you can get those groups in many different ways. So I don't think Christianity or God is the reason humans are able to break out. I think we're able to break out because that's the best way to survive.
Yeah, and I would say that I think God allows the free will for people to make those choices, even if they don't see that as their source of free will. But certainly I agree with survival being the thing that gets people to break out of it. But then it's like there is some sort of, or should be, a moral foundation within people, whether you believe in God or not, where your survival, your need to survive, does have some sort of like different sets of lines that you will not cross because of the consequences that might come with it. Because there's some people who will just do anything to survive and they act like an animal, and then they have no moral compass. Whereas there are other people who know what it takes to survive while also, doing it within a moral framework. And that, like I was saying, back to our very first conversation, is one of those things that puts us apart from animals living on this planet, where most people try to act within some sort of structure of morality, unlike the animals that are just survival only. They'll do whatever it takes. They'll eat whatever. They hunt things down. They're obviously killing, but then most people, unless there's extreme circumstances and you have to like break the law or do something you didn't think you would have to do, but you're trying to feed your children, that's a different type of thing. But day-to-day life in this world we're in right now, we are doing our best. I would like to say most of us are doing our best to do it morally, to survive. Because then we could talk about survival is relative as well, because everyone's living paycheck to paycheck. The economy's not so great. It's just a tough life all around. But yeah, does that help? Does that answer what you were saying?
Well, it gives me something to respond to, which
Cool.
I think is just the idea of survival. I'm an individual. I want to survive. I want to have financial stability past living paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
But that's me. I want my DNA, my heritage to survive. I want my children to do well. I want them to procreate, and that's my I don't know,
your legacy.
A fundamental driver. And and then there's another survival of humanity. I think I have a connection to all humans, and I would like for humans to continue.
Mm-hmm.
So those three things, different levels of survival, I don't think you can necessarily like put a blanket statement on that. And that's kind of how I think about things.
That's good. That's good. And people just need to remember, there's people alive today who who skip the part about survival within your community and the individual and go right to how do I save the world, which is, I think, the bad way of going about it. You have to start focusing on yourself and your community and knowing how to survive that and together before you can tackle something as big as, larger ecosystems. But it's all about survival and legacy and making sure your children get to the next level and they can have, their children, and that you're instilling a good foundation in them so they can have the confidence and the observational skills and the grace and the patience and the strength to navigate the crazy world we're in.
And I think it can be pretty tough. I think it can be depressing to think about these things. And I said when I first spoke that I want to break out of this box, this determinist box of, just things happen or whatever. And the way I break out of that, just the way I broke out of everything that I believed, is by applying it to my life fully, saying, I'm gonna go full force and see if this makes sense. And when I did that with determinism, I found out that it doesn't feel right, because if I can have a good understanding or let's say a perfect understanding of where I came from, then I should have a perfect ability to have a perfect plan for my future and know the results. And it doesn't work like that.
Right.
It doesn't matter how much information I get, I cannot predict the future. And there's nobody in the world that can predict the future. If you can show me someone who gets something right 100% of the time, the first time, then I will follow them to the ends of the earth. But nobody does that.
No.
Whether they're Christian or they're atheist, nobody has that perfect amount of information. So thinking about I'm on a determined path that I can't change doesn't actually help me, because I don't have the full information to tell me what the path is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not actually helpful.
Yeah.
So what I started to do was to look at, okay, these are the conditions, my starting conditions that I'm aware of. This is what I think the direction is going. Now I'm going to make a choice and see what happens, and actually like kind of follow the path and learn, what actually could happen. And I think viewing the world that way, where I use starting conditions to understand how things are to the point they are now, and then I stop thinking determinist and I start being a person, and I start feeling, and I start thinking, and I start wondering, and that actually allows me to make progress in my life.
That's a beautiful thing. I think that's great. Of course, no one can predict the future. It's chaos and it's beautiful, and we just kind of roll with it. We can observe patterns. We can get a pretty good idea of how things could go down, but it's impossible. There's so many variables happening, and I think that's the way to go. Like you were saying, like how I believe I trust in God, but it's also just straight up chaos, and every day is a test, and you don't know what's being thrown at you. On top of all this survival, we're just kind of running, crawling to the finish line all at once. But yeah, I'm happy to hear that.
Sweet. Thank you, guys. And I just have one piece of advice to finish off, and this is for people who feel depressed, alone, nihilistic, and most of all, numb. Something I started doing that helped me connect to myself and to the world around me is I started to tune in to the moments when my body got goosebumps. When I was thinking about something or talking about something or hearing somebody talk about something and I got goosebumps, I would take a pause and feel the goosebumps on my body and think, why is that giving me goosebumps? And I would think about it more, and I would look into it more and hear about it more, and I would get goosebumps again. I'm like, oh, this feels pretty good. And doing that, I think, has allowed me to connect to life in so many beautiful ways. And I think goosebumps are our body's way of telling our brains what we truly align with. So I think I encourage people to chase their goosebumps, chase the things that give them goosebumps.
Awesome. I love it. That's great, man. I'm happy to hear it.
Cool. Have a good night. Thank you, guys.
You too. Bye. That's incredible. We've had so many great talks with John. And for those who don't remember, but Brandon couldn't be in these talks because we don't have the right screen. So you're here.
I am here. I'm still here.
You are here. But because of this whole switcheroo, you can't be in here. But Brandon and I have had a lot of awesome talks with John since we started this almost 2 months ago. And I love these conversations. I love thinking about this kind of stuff. And I agree with kind of being in tune to the things that are exciting or scary or, just like you said, give you goosebumps. I think it's awesome to be excited and thrilled and love things, all types of stuff. It's why Brandon and I love music so much and hearing stories so much. This stuff is very exciting. It allows you to connect with stuff that you're thinking and your own stuff going on in your life, but then it allows you to connect with others, whether you're talking about music that you all like or you're at a concert enjoying it together. This is awesome stuff that we get to do while we're here on this planet. So yeah, shout out to John. Appreciate you calling in. And then Goosebumps just reminded me how much I loved the book series Goosebumps growing up.
We were actually talking about that either earlier or yesterday for some reason. I forget what the hell. We were making fun of something about books and he's just sitting there reading a copy of Goosebumps, The Haunted Mask, like that whole thing.
I hope it was about me.
No, we weren't talking about you. I can't remember who the hell it was. It was just some random thing we were talking about in the IRL studio.
The covers were great. Great book series. But all right, let's go to our next caller.
Yep. So once again, guys, we're not going to get to all of you.
How many we got?
Good 7 or 8 people still left. I got through most of everybody that we were trying to get to.
Okay.
There's a few names on here that did not come back tonight, so I'm going to leave them on here just in case. If they do, I'll try to get to you later on in the week. If you're watching, want to call back.
Sick.
Otherwise,
our next caller is Bibi Netanyahu, who's making the rounds on all the podcasts. No, I'm just kidding, guys.
Yeah, that'd be really funny.
He's been doing all the podcasts. He's on a PR tour. It's like Netanyahu's like the new cloud seeding guy. He's like, I just need a good PR tour. People to believe in me.
He's going to try to convince us all that Iran is going to nuke us. All right. Been there, done that. All right. Let's get on to, let's bring on Michael Garcia. Michael, you're on the show. What's up?
Hey, what's up, guys?
What up?
Just BBN now. Yeah, I'm happy for the Nelk boys, and they did what they did. Just to kind of coach it.
Nice.
And then they hit up Nick and Nick Fuentes and Myron Gaines, which I like. They kind of did a little cleanup.
Hilarious that's the cleanup now. It's like you go to Nick and talk to him about your interview with Bibi Netanyahu. We are living in wild, amazing times. I love it.
Yeah, for sure. So just listening to the previous callers, I got a couple points that I'd like to hit on, which is one. My first point is just Seamus Coughlin. He said a little while ago, it's getting to the point where I need to apologize to Sodom and Gomorrah for wiping them out.
Love Seamus. Shout out to Seamus.
Yeah, shout out to Seamus. Good guy. I love it.
Yep.
Just talking about the other caller talked about dopamine hit, and I just want to add to social media and how they use the algorithms to trigger people with notifications. And you were talking about vibrations and with their phones, and it's just like it's just like you post that one profile picture of like, this is me at my best, and you put it out there, you're vulnerable, and then you get the algorithm kind of puts those people to the top, and you get the dings and your phone vibrates, and you get that dopamine hit that is
that dopamine hit is like exactly how Hunter Biden describes crack cocaine.
Yeah,
it's just so beautiful, it's not that bad for you. It's less bad than alcohol. It's just baking soda and like mayonnaise.
And I'm gonna weasel in here and just steal the camera and say that one day I hope to find somebody that looks at me like Hunter Biden looks at crack cocaine.
Oh man, that guy was on a roll with it. But yeah, no, dude, you're totally right about the dopamine stuff, and they've weaponized that against people. And just before you go to the next part, I just want to say, because you reminded me, this thing is scary. Like, these social media companies have weaponized the algorithm against you, and they know you better than you know yourself sometimes, and they go after young people, especially young girls. And like Facebook, we had that whistleblower in April testify that Meta will do things like, oh, this girl put up a profile picture and then she deleted it like 5 minutes later. Let's send that information to an advertiser who can advertise like a purse or something to her, because she must be depressed that she took out her profile picture. And when you're depressed, you'll buy things. And that's what Meta does on a wide scale around the world. So
1000% now. And now they have even the Apple Watch or Android Watch, or I don't know, maybe they're doing through Oculus, where they can see your heart rate and they can 100%. See the spike to get you to buy something. And I feel it on a daily basis, and they get my money every now and again.
But this is pretty cool. Dang it, they got me.
Oh yeah, I just brought my kids some badass squirt guns that they shoot.
Oh, bro, is it the ones that light up?
Yes.
Yeah, dude. Yes. I know those are sick.
Those are sick.
Those are sick. I might do it. They might get me with those. Man.
Oh, I did. It was like they did a little holiday special. It was like buy 3 get the 4th one free. So we had a bunch of people for 4th of July, and they definitely hit me.
Yep. Well, that's awesome. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, last time I was on, I talked about dreams, and that's we talked. The guy was talking previously about sleep paralysis, and this is just last week I was talking about dreams, and there's one thing that I missed, and I want to apologize because I was a little tipsy when I called you, because I was so excited, because I was like, I told my wife, I was like, I'm finally gonna call in, I'm gonna do my thing, I just want to talk to Shane, and. But the Japanese have they're using MRI technology to read your dreams, and they say that they can actually through the BBC is the only article that I could pull up that through the MRI technology that they could read your dreams up to 60%. Now, what is that? Which is like, and that article was written 2013, and there's nothing else that I could find that was actually even close to that, like, or even more recent. And so, where are they with that? It's kind of scary.
Yeah, you know why you're not hearing about it? Because they don't want you to know that
For sure.
they're doing it. Like here we have ai.meta.com. Let's just see. I'm just pulling this up. I haven't even read it. But using AI to decode language from the brain and advance our understanding of human communication. So this is about them making breakthroughs in reading the brain, probably telekinesis type stuff, which Elon's also doing. We have Meta unveils AI models that convert brain activity into text. We have them toward a real-time decoding of images from brain activity. This is all Meta. I just referenced this the other day on IRL. You know, people look at me like I'm insane, but I'm like, dude, I'm not making this up. I'm telling you, these companies, and we're talking about Meta again, within 5 minutes, are trying to read your brain. That is the final frontier. That is the actual final frontier is in
For
your
sure.
brain. So, but yeah, dude, I didn't know about this Japanese MRI story. I got it pulled up. I'll have to look into that. That's wild.
It's very wild. I really just took in the interview with Joe Rogan and the guy that has the Neuralink in his head currently.
Yeah.
That was a very interesting one. I feel like there was a lot he was leaving out. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that guy is being gate kept. If it's the same,
Yeah.
it's the only guy, right? You're talking about the first guy with Neuralink.
Yes,
Who
and
calls it
he was
Eve.
on a Rogan podcast. I don't know. Sorry.
No, yeah, you're right. I mean, I had talked to him. I was supposed to interview him, and then that didn't happen because I think Elon has it out for me. But I was talking to him when he was actually on the plane from coming back from the Rogan interview, and it dawned on me then that this guy is messaging me with his brain. You know, like obviously I knew he was paraplegic. I knew he had the Neuralink, but like I'm getting DMs from him on Twitter. And I'm like not putting it together in my mind that he's using his brain to send this message without touching anything. It was totally insane.
Wow. I didn't. Yeah. No words for the future. I just want to lead to what I wanted to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know if you remember me. I talked about Lawrence Livermore Lab and a couple things, and there's a lot of things I want to talk about, but something that touched me is my best friend had a child. You know, shout out my buddy Nick Ortiz. You know, he had his first kid
Awesome.
on Sunday,
Awesome.
and
Congrats.
it just dawned on me on the book that I read by Jamie Metzel, which is Hacking Darwin. I don't know if you're familiar with that one.
No, I'm not.
And okay, so Hacking Darwin. So so the book, and he alleges, and he was actually on the Rogan podcast to kind of if you want to look it up, but he talked about creating superhumans, and that he's a part of a group that is with the United Nations, and they are that the United States and China are in a war on creating superhumans, and so they claim that they can. So, like a woman during her menstrual cycle can only create like maybe 12 eggs, and then a man has like 1,000 swimmers or whatever it may be through their sperm. But they claim that they can take stem cells and they can use sperm to create superhumans, and by the year 2050, that a woman is not going to give natural birth. Like if you're going to take your semen and the women's eggs or stem cells and create a human outside of the body, you can choose if you want your kid to be blonde hair, blue eyes, fast swimmer, fast runner, good at math, whatever you want, through this book. And so you know, altering the genetic code is it's wild to me. And so my question to you is, should we be engineering our children? And I know in vitro is kind of the first step that's kind of out there.
Yep.
And I'm not talking shit, but through my personal life, the kids that have been created through in vitro are normally a little different.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
My question is just, should we be engineering our children?
Where's my is this my camera today?
Yeah, you're over there.
No. It's a short answer. There's an article that just came out like yesterday or today. Actually, maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. They just created a baby using 3 different people's DNA. It might be China. It sounds like something China would do, but it might be France. I don't know.
Is that polyamory?
Yeah, it's like eugenicist laboratory polyamory. But
my
no,
God.
I don't think we should be doing that. I don't agree with this stuff at all. This idea of like being told you're going to have a child with autism and you abort it. I don't like that. I do believe every life is a miracle. And I also know that things like the book Brave New World, that is the future. That's the future you're talking about, right? With the superhumans. And everyone should go read that.
A soma pill would be great, but
right. Right. But I don't know if it's going to be like that. Like they're going to start, dictating exactly what kind of person can be created,
Yes.
and that's going to be, I think that's around the corner. They've been trying to do the superhuman thing since the 40s and 50s, maybe earlier, but like we know about, that's what MK Ultra was all about. The super soldier, right? We want to create someone who's a perfect soldier. That's why they did that. We know, when you talk about the menstrual cycle stuff, that sounds wild, right? But then why does Peter Thiel invest in a menstrual cycle tracker for women? He is the military industrial complex. We know he drinks blood. He doesn't really drink blood. I know that. He injects it into his body. But, that is why are they doing that? I don't know why, but you think about this kind of stuff and the things he invests in, perhaps that's an avenue he's into. And if it's not, I hope I didn't just give him that idea, because we are on Rumble, which belongs to Peter Thiel. And also artificial wombs. That's another thing they're talking about. Elon talks about it. So you put all this stuff together. I think it's right around the corner. I think they've already been doing it. We just, like I just said, this baby born with 3 different people's DNA, and it was created to like avoid illnesses. I think that maybe one or two of the parents had. So I don't, this whole designer baby thing is so bizarre and gross to me. Like, okay, we want a blonde baby, we want a boy, we want all this stuff. I just think you can't do that. You don't play God. I'm against making fake clouds, and I'm against designing your children. I think that's weird. So that's my answer. I hope that's all.
Yeah. So the Hacking Darwin was, was written, I believe, in 2013. I my notes kind of got away from me, but Joe Rogan even asked, because he said, okay, so if you're saying that you could take these stem cells, it's a great episode with this guy, and Joe Rogan says, okay, so you're saying that you could take these stem cells and you can create these superhumans, and it's like, okay, so let's just say that you can fertilize 100 eggs, and you as the parents go in and say, well, I want a boy and 2 girls, and what do you do with the other 97 kids? Are you going to create a clone army? That was Joe Rogan's exact question. Like, are you going to create a clone army? And that's why, and Jamie Metzel said this is exactly why there's this committee through the United Nations.
It's happening. I guarantee you this has already been happening. We've talked about clones on this show before. We've seen Bill Clinton as president come out and talk about clones, human clones. This is a thing that's been talked about, and I think the reason we're not talking about it a lot, I do want to watch this Rogan episode because they're talking about it at least, but I think they're not talking about it on purpose. I think this is something that people are going to have a really hard time dealing with when they understand what they've been doing, what they've been doing with a lot of these fetuses. We've seen videos and reports about a lot of the stuff where these things that have happened in Planned Parenthood, and where that the fetuses go in these laboratories and universities, and what God knows what kind of freakish, horror show experiments they're doing. And on top of all that, we got Colossus making dire wolves and woolly mammoths. So you're going to have super soldiers. We're going to have dire wolves. It's going to be fun.
Saber-toothed tigers.
That's right. Saber-toothed tigers. The future's looking bright.
Yeah, it's hard because I feel like a woman could never be closer to God unless while she's birthing a child or creating a child within her, and so it's hard to fathom this type of lifestyle where I get that there's selective breeding. Like you look at a guy like Yao Ming, where China claims that they took the tallest woman basketball player and the tallest male basketball player, and they created this guy that's like, I don't know, 6'9" or 7'9". Right. I'm sorry.
Yep.
And then you have like a Shohei Ohtani, which is just a freak athlete. Yep. And just recently, this is kind of what kind of triggered me, or what kind of reminded me of this was, I'm a 49er fan. I live out here in the San Francisco Bay. Sick. Near there. And so I'm a 49er fan. Well, the offensive guard just got engaged to Maya Lesnar, Brock Lesnar's daughter, which I'm looking at this woman like, oh my gosh, she's a freak. Like, she's a freak of a woman.
Their kid's going to be their kid is going to be like a natural super soldier.
Yes. So you have selective breeding, which that's another story. I kind of call it my Mayflower theory always, where it's just like when during slavery, I felt like the strong had to survive, and so it's to go to that is kind of, I don't want to piss people off too much, but it just creating superhumans and selective breeding, that's kind of just where I'm at.
And it's been going on for a long time in all various forms, but now we're moving into the era where it's going to be done with AI. All this new technology, these like villainous super billionaires who want to create clone armies. So well, we will keep an eye on that. I appreciate the phone call, man. It was awesome talking to you.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'll definitely be calling back. I love you guys. Appreciate it. Awesome. First time got to see Brandon. I got to call with Alex, and like I said, long time listener, second time caller.
Sick. That's awesome. Thanks, man. Right. Appreciate it.
Take care. You guys take care.
You too. Man, oh man, we love you guys. It's the best. These 2 hours fly by. It's crazy. Despite the circus it was in the beginning, you did well. How you feeling?
Made it out alive.
You good?
I just have to make sure that all of this shit works tomorrow, and we'll be fine.
But we'll be fine. We made it work tonight.
I'm on the case.
We made it work tonight. Look at us.
Thankfully, the damage control has been.
Yeah, it's great.
99% panic and 1% hey, that worked.
We're in podcast boot camp. This is what happens. It's good to have some obstacles. Throw these things at us. So apologies once again to those we didn't get to. I hope you call back tomorrow. We will be back at 10 o'clock. You know where to find us. Brandon, where can they find you?
As always, you can find me at Brando Inverted on Twix and on Insta. And as always, once again, do not forget to stay weird. We'll see you tomorrow, hopefully under better circumstances.
Shout out to look at me. That's hilarious. I should go back.
This is actually when I'm doing the test. I call this
Ghost Shane. Can I go back to that chair?
And I'm like, we're gonna go to Ghost Shane here, and then I pan to it, and then no one says anything, and then I pan back. Yeah, look, you made it.
Okay.
Yeah, now you can do a proper sign off.
Shout out to Brandon for making this show happen tonight, despite all the crazy stuff. Now my arm's not working. That's hilarious.
Let's just find more things that go wrong here before
blow up something in a second. No, imagine start shooting my liquid death. But dude, thank you. You made it happen. Great job once again. Shout out to Brandon. Rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne. Go listen to some Sabbath tonight. Listen to some Ozzy solos. Listen to Shot in the Dark. Listen to Bark at the Moon. Listen to War Pigs.
Listen to Mama, I'm Coming Home and try not to cry.
Listen to No More Tears. But thank you guys for calling in. Thank you guys so much for all the support. You guys are the best. I'm so grateful for everyone out there who listens and calls in. We'll be back tomorrow. You know where to find me online, at Shane Cashman, all that good stuff.
And I've got you guys written down that are still in Zoom. I've got all the names taken down. So again, if we didn't get to you tonight, sorry. We will do our best to get to you tomorrow or the following day. Just call back.
Yeah. Well, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.